The notion that the science on climate change is a lie to manipulate Christians is a claim that has been circulating among certain groups, particularly those with strong conservative or evangelical leanings. This idea suggests that the overwhelming scientific consensus on human-caused climate change is a fabrication, designed to deceive and manipulate Christians into supporting policies and ideologies that align with a supposedly liberal or secular agenda. However, a closer examination of the evidence and the underlying motivations behind this claim reveals a far more complex and nuanced reality. Firstly, it is essential to acknowledge that the scientific community's understanding of climate change is based on decades of rigorous research, data collection, and peer-reviewed studies. The evidence from multiple lines of inquiry, including temperature records, melting glaciers, and shifts in species distributions, all point to a clear conclusion: human activities, particularly the burning of fossil fuels and deforestation, are significantly contributing to the increase in global temperatures. This consensus is not limited to a particular group or ideology, but is shared by the vast majority of climate scientists worldwide, regardless of their religious affiliations. The claim that climate change science is a lie to manipulate Christians often relies on a misinterpretation of the relationship between science and faith. While it is true that some Christians may have differing views on the interpretation of biblical teachings regarding the environment, the scientific study of climate change is not inherently anti-Christian. In fact, many Christian denominations and organizations have explicitly recognized the importance of caring for creation in addressing the moral and ethical implications of climate change. The idea that science is being used to manipulate Christians assumes a level of coordination and intent among scientists that is not supported by evidence. Moreover, the manipulation claim often overlooks the significant involvement of Christian scientists and researchers in the study of climate change. Many Christians are contributing to the advancement of climate science, motivated by their faith's teachings on stewardship and the responsibility to care for God's creation. Their work is not driven by a desire to deceive or manipulate, but by a genuine commitment to understanding and addressing one of the most pressing issues of our time. Another aspect to consider is the political and ideological context in which the claim of manipulation arises. The rejection of climate change science often aligns with broader political agendas, particularly those that prioritize economic growth over environmental regulation. By framing climate change as a hoax perpetrated against Christians, some individuals and groups may be attempting to discredit the science and avoid the policy implications that follow from accepting its reality. This approach not only undermines the integrity of scientific inquiry but also distracts from the urgent need for dialogue and action on climate change, which should ideally transcend partisan and ideological divides. In conclusion, the assertion that the science on climate change is a lie to manipulate Christians lacks credible evidence and ignores the complexity of the issue. The scientific consensus on climate change is based on empirical evidence and rigorous research, not on ideological or religious agendas. Christians, like people of all faiths and backgrounds, have a critical role to play in addressing climate change, drawing from their values of stewardship, justice, and compassion. Rather than perpetrating unfounded claims of manipulation, it is essential to engage in respectful and informed dialogue, recognizing the moral and ethical dimensions of climate change and the urgent need for collective action to mitigate its impacts. By doing so, we can work towards a future where the care for creation and the well-being of all people are prioritized, regardless of religious affiliation or ideological perspective.